So, men crying. What the fuck? So if you read the description, you maybe think that I think it's wrong for men to cry, and I certainly don't. This conversation was prompted by something I saw online a few days ago, but essentially somebody was taking the pee out of a guy who admitted he'd cried for what they thought was a relatively superfluous reason. And I think it's completely wrong. I said in a live a couple of days ago that only last month did I cry when I heard a friend of mine's speech who talked about losing her sister to suicide 9 years ago, and in front of a room full of 100 odd people I cried, and I have no problem admitting it. I think this is a deeper problem still. I think the reason that male suicide is the biggest killer of men under the age of 45 is for that similar connected reason. I think there's a stigma about, this bullshit idea that men shouldn't cry. Well, my opinion is real men do cry. I think there's a suppression of emotion that is expected from perhaps years ago, that men shouldn't show their emotions and definitely shouldn't cry. And that's a core problem right there. And that's connected to the stigma that we have about men specifically, and women of course, but more importantly, not importantly, but more real for men, in that they're not expected to show emotion. And I think that's a big part of where we get this stigma from. This stigma of mental health, the stigma of depression, and the idea that still people say, just get on with it and buck up your ideas, or whatever people say is the reason they think people shouldn't be affected in the way that they are. And the suppression of emotion is a pretty bad thing for anybody to have, but a man is not expected to be like that in some people's eyes. Well, I'm here to say that I think that's wrong, and I think this is what we've got to shift about what we think. Men specifically have got some big issues that we've got to deal with, and until we deal with those issues and that the whole mindset and the whole expectations of men and their emotions, we're still going to have this stigma. We're still going to have the stigma that men shouldn't cry, that like I said, the biggest killer of men under the age of 45 here in the UK is suicide. And it's all connected. And it's wrong. And we need to change it. And that's what I'm planning to do going into next year with Music is Life. Music is Life Foundation's been set up to help anybody, not just men, with mental health and depression issues. And we're going to be using the power of music to do that. We've got some big plans with it. But if you read the description of this video when you watched it and you thought men think, I specifically did it because what the fuck, men crying, you may have read that thinking that I disagree with men crying, and I certainly don't. And like I said, only last month did I do that, albeit quite silently, because the sheer power of my friend Sarah's speech made me do that. And I'm sure it got to a lot of other people as well. And I think we need to change it. And we need to examine why perhaps some men think that. Because the idea of being a macho guy that doesn't show his emotions, that's always in control of their emotions, is something that spells out a lot of problems for people. And ultimately feeds into the issue that we have 82 people a week on average taking their own lives. Men taking their own lives. And I'm still blown away by that statistic. I think it's a fucked up thing that 82 men take their own lives every week in this country. it blows my mind. And we need to change. And we need to get rid of the stigma. We need to screw the stigma. And we need to all enable each other to be able to show our emotions more and to be able to talk to each other more. Because for me, certainly personally, talking has been one of the best therapies that I've ever had in any of the mental health issues that I have in the past. So that's my take on it. Real men do cry, and it's okay to show emotions. Keep it real. Catch you soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.